You're scrolling through social media and everyone seems rich. Designer bags, luxury vacations, new cars, and you're sitting there wondering if you're financially behind. Here's what nobody tells you. The median net worth for someone in their 30s is $13,900. Not $100,000, not $50,000, $13,900. Which means if you have $20,000 saved, you're already beating half the country. The numbers aren't what you think, and by the end of this, you'll know exactly where you stand and what actually matters. My name is Ivan, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, human psychology, and why some people seem to effortlessly build wealth while others stay stuck in the same financial patterns for decades. If you're someone who wants to understand the real mechanics behind wealth building instead of just hoping things will magically improve, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it ends up helping you see money differently. Here's why this matters. When someone tells you their bench press number or their test score, you instantly know where they stand. Net worth works the same way. There's a number that tells you if you're ahead or behind. But here's the catch. Most people are comparing themselves to fake numbers. They see the average and assume that's normal. It's not. Let's start with what net worth actually means because most people get this wrong. Your net worth isn't your salary. It's what you own minus what you owe. Simple subtraction. Say you have a house worth $400,000. Cars worth $60,000. Other assets worth $10,000. That's $470,000 in total assets. But you also have a $200,000 mortgage, $15,000 in car loans, $5,000 in credit card debt. That's $220,000 in debt. Subtract the debt from the assets and your net worth is $250,000. Notice what's missing from that equation. Your income. You could make $300,000 a year and have a negative net worth if you're drowning in debt. Or you could make $60,000 and have a positive net worth if you own more than you owe. Income measures how much flows through your hands. Net worth measures how much sticks. Now, here's where things get interesting. The Federal Reserve says the average net worth for US households is $748,800. Your first reaction? That seems insanely high, and you'd be right to be suspicious. The problem with averages is they get destroyed by outliers. When Jeff Bezos walks into a room, the average net worth of everyone in that room becomes $1 billion. But that doesn't mean everyone's rich. It just means the ultra wealthy skew the numbers so far up that the average becomes meaningless. This is why median matters more than average. Median is the midpoint. Half of people are above it, half are below it. And the median net worth for US households, $121,700. That's 6 times lower than the average. That's the gap between reality and what billionaires do to statistics. Let's break this down by age because this is where it gets both brutal and encouraging. If you're in your 20s with $0 saved, you're actually ahead of most people your age. I know that sounds wrong, but here's the truth. Most people in their 20s have negative net worth. The culprit? Student loans. You borrowed $50,000 for college. You're working an entry-level job making $40,000. After rent, food, and basic survival, there's nothing left. Your net worth is negative $30,000 because the debt outweighs everything you own. So if you're at zero, you're beating everyone with student debt. And if you have $5,000 saved, you're in the top tier of your age group. The median net worth for people under 35 is $13,900. That's the midpoint, not $100,000, not $50,000, less than the price of a used car. Here's the psychology that matters. Most 20-year-olds think $2,000 on a weekend trip doesn't matter. It feels small, but that same $2,000 invested at 8% over 40 years becomes $43,000. You're not spending $2,000, you're spending your future financial independence, and your 20-year-old brain can't see that. If you're smart enough to save even 5 to 10% of your income in your 20s, you'll be well above average within a decade. Not because you're making more money, because you understood compounding before everyone else. Now, let's shift to your 30s. This is where expectations and reality collide. By your 30s, conventional wisdom says you should have 6 months of expenses saved as an emergency fund. Using median household income as a benchmark, that's about $30,000. Not in investments, just sitting in cash as a buffer against life's disasters. Why does this matter? Because unexpected expenses destroy wealth faster than anything else. Medical emergency, car breaks down, lose your job. If you don't have a buffer, you're forced to use credit cards or loans. And high interest debt is the kryptonite of wealth building. But here's where the numbers get depressing. The median net worth for people in their 30s is still just $13,900. The average is $76,300. That gap tells you everything. A handful of wealthy people are pulling the average up while most people are barely scraping by. Why is the median so low? 3 reasons. 1, you're early in your career, so income is still relatively low. 2, student loans are still crushing you. 3, you probably bought a house and a car, which means you have assets but also massive debt attached to those assets. Your net worth stays flat because the mortgage and car loan cancel out the value of what you own. Here's what this means practically. If you're in your 30s with $30,000 saved, you're beating most of your peers. Not all of them, but most. And if you're debt-free with $50,000, you're in the top 20% of your age group. Quick sanity check. The rule of thumb for your 30s is to have 1 year of income saved. Median income for this age group is about $55,000, which means you should have $55,000 saved. But the median net worth is $14,000. That means most people are failing to hit this benchmark by a massive margin. Let's move to your 40s because this is where financial progress either accelerates or stalls permanently. By your 40s, you've been working for 20 years, your income has increased, your career is established, you've been paying down your mortgage, hopefully you've been contributing to retirement accounts. The median net worth for people in their 40s is $92,300. The average is $436,000. Still a huge gap. But notice something. The median nearly tripled from your 30s to your 40s. From $14,000 to $92,000. That's not a small jump. Why the acceleration? 2 reasons. 1, your income is higher so you can save more. 2, you've been paying down debt for years. Your mortgage balance is lower, student loans are gone, credit cards are paid off. Your assets now exceed your liabilities by a meaningful amount. The rule of thumb for your 40s is to have 3 times your annual income saved. Median income at this age is about $60,000. 3 times that is $180,000, but the median net worth is $92,000, which means the typical person is still about halfway to where they should be. Here's the trap that keeps people stuck. By your 40s, lifestyle inflation has kicked in. You're making more money, so you buy a bigger house, nicer car, better vacations. Your spending rises to match your income, and your net worth growth stalls. Poor Peter makes $80,000 in his 40s. He buys a bigger house, leases a luxury car, takes expensive vacations. His net worth grows slowly because his spending grows as fast as his income. Rich Richard makes the same $80,000. He keeps his modest house, drives a paid-off car, invests aggressively. His net worth doubles every 7 years because he refuses to let lifestyle inflation eat his raises. Same income, wildly different outcomes. Now let's talk about your 50s because this is where the stakes get real. You're 10 to 15 years from retirement. If you haven't built meaningful wealth by now, you're running out of time. The median net worth for people in their 50s is $124,200. The average is $727,500. Notice the median finally broke 6 figures. But here's the problem. The rule of thumb for your 50s is to have 5 times your annual income saved. Median income at this age is about $70,000. 5 times that is $350,000. But the median net worth is $124,000. The typical person is less than halfway to where they need to be. Let me make this concrete. If you retire at 65 with $124,000 saved and you follow the 4% withdrawal rule, you can withdraw $4,960 per year. That's $413 per month. You cannot retire on that. You're depending entirely on Social Security. And Social Security was never designed to be your only income source. Here's what happens in your 50s if you're not careful. Kids are moving out. You feel like you've earned a reward for working hard. You buy luxury items, take expensive trips, upgrade everything. Your debt increases instead of decreasing, and your retirement date keeps getting pushed back. But here's the opportunity. If you're in your 50s with $300,000 saved, you're well ahead. You're in the top quarter of your age group. And if you keep saving aggressively for another 10 years, you can actually retire comfortably. Now, here's the part nobody talks about. Net worth is just one metric. It doesn't tell you when you can retire. A person with $5 million in net worth might still need to work because they have a $4 million house and a $1 million car with no income producing assets. Meanwhile, someone with $500,000 could be retired if they live frugally and own income producing assets. The number that actually matters is your savings rate. How much of your income you keep. because your savings rate determines your timeline to financial independence. Save 10%, you'll work for 50 years. Save 50%, you'll work for 17 years. Save 70%, you'll work for 9 years. Here's the identity shift. Stop comparing your net worth to other people. Start comparing it to your own financial independence number. How much do you need to never work again? Take your annual expenses, multiply by 25. That's your number using the 4% rule. If you spend $40,000 per year, you need $1 million invested to retire. If you spend $30,000 per year, you need $750,000. The person spending less needs less wealth to be free, which means controlling spending is more powerful than increasing income. So here's what actually matters. First, pay off high interest debt, credit cards, personal loans, anything above 7%. You can't build wealth while paying 18% interest. Second, build a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. This buffer protects you from forced debt when life goes wrong. Third, invest consistently in appreciating assets, index funds, real estate, things that compound over time. And fourth, keep your lifestyle flat while your income grows. Every raise you get should go straight to investments, not to a bigger house or nicer car, because the gap between what you earn and what you spend is where wealth gets built. Here's your next step. Calculate your actual net worth. Write down everything you own, subtract everything you owe, compare it to the median for your age. If you're behind, you know exactly what needs to change. If you're ahead, keep doing what you're doing and don't let lifestyle inflation steal your progress. The average person in their 50s has $124,000 saved and no plan to retire. You don't have to be average. You just have to make better decisions than average, and now you know exactly what those decisions are.